Hello and welcome to a special BriefingsDirect podcast series coming to you from the 2014 Ariba LIVE Conference in Las Vegas. We're here the week of March 17 to explore the latest in collaborative commerce and to learn how innovative companies are tapping into the networked economy. We'll see how these companies are improving their real-time business productivity and sales, along with building far-reaching relationships with new business partners and customers. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of Ariba-sponsored BriefingsDirect podcast. Well, our next innovator case study focuses on Arlington Computer Products and how they've been improving their financial processes and operations using the new AribaPay cloud service. We'll now learn how an integrated and on-demand approach to ordering, billing, and settlement processes between buyers and sellers benefits Arlington Computer Products, or ACP. So, to learn more about how Agile business services are entering into a new era, please join me now in welcoming our guest. We're here with Arly Guenther. He's the Chief Executive Officer at Arlington Computer Products in Buffalo Grove, Illinois. Welcome, Arly.
Good morning, Dana.
We're also here with Drew Hofler, Managed Cash Solution Marketing Director at Ariba, an SAP company. Welcome, Drew.
Thank you, Dana. Glad to be here.
Drew, let's start with you. From a high level, why are companies seeking to do things differently when it comes to paying and getting more digital and electronic in how they're settling out their accounts? Why do this?
Well, Dana, fundamentally, B2B payments is broken in the sense that it's very different from consumer payments, right? Now, with consumer payments, you have the item that is being bought and the information around the payment that happens at the same time at the point of payment with the settlement of funds. With B2B payment, however, the goods that are delivered, the service that is performed is done so 45, 60, 90 days ahead of when the payment is settled. And this disconnect in time between the information around the payment and the actual settlement of the payment causes companies to have a very difficult time reconciling payments that they receive because of the lack of remittance information and enough information around the payment, particularly when there are multiple invoices involved to settle that payment.
Mm-hmm.
So you have organizations that would like to pay with electronic payment because it is more secure, it is cheaper, it is faster. But people being paid, suppliers, are struggling with that because it often does not contain the information that they need to settle those funds. So suppliers would like to get paid faster, they would like to get paid electronically, but they need that information along with it. And there's never been a payment in the B2B world that tied together net term payment with all of the information that's necessary to manage and reconcile that payment. And so that's where AribaPay comes in to try and solve that problem.
All right, and just for the understanding of our audience, AribaPay was unveiled last year at Ariba Live, and it's a partnership with Discover, the financial services organization. So tell us a little bit about the rollout. What's going on here this week at Live, and why is this a big bash, a big coming out, if you will, for AribaPay?
Sure. Yes, last year we announced our partnership with Discover and began our development process and our design phase of that, building out the product. This year, we're happy to announce that we've had our first live transactions between Discover and Arlington Computer Products. And so the first live payments have gone through the system, and now that the product is ready to bring out, and it will be fully available to the general public in the second quarter of this year.
Well, great. Let's go to Arly. Tell us a bit about Arlington Computer Products, what you do, your size of your organization, and why AribaPay was interesting to you.
Yeah, well, Arlington Computer Products has been in business for 30 years. We're an IT solution provider, servicing a lot of large enterprise customers. Last year, we did about $130 million in revenue. And we're providing really best-in-class IT solutions for our customers. So when we see a best-in-class solution like AribaPay, we really want to embrace it and use it ourselves. We're always looking at our business, trying to get more efficient, drive costs out of our model. Customer satisfaction is our top priority, but at the same time, we need to be price competitive. So we're always looking for innovative solutions, trying to get more efficient, more productive as an organization. This space that we've been in historically has been very manual for us, very high touch. And really with AribaPay, we've been able to re-architect our accounting system to use a solution as opposed to a manual process. And as far as doing business with Discover, we've done business with Discover for over a decade. They're an outstanding organization, superb, using best-in-class technology to drive their business. So you combine that with Ariba, which is a top-notch software firm, and you're really combining two great organizations. So we were really comfortable going with the pilot.
Right. Now, as Drew pointed out, there's a number of benefits that come with moving to an electronic settlement process and using an integrated approach across a partnership or ecosystem like Discover and Ariba. But for you, Arly, what were the sort of top problems or top issues that you wanted to resolve by going into this new model?
Yeah, it was really a very manual process for us. So we would actually generate an invoice. We had to put it in an envelope. We had a manual process, postage expense, envelope expense, mail the invoice out, sit and wait for payment to come into a lockbox, which is a check. Wait for the check to clear so the funds are available. And then, after you'd follow up 45, 50 days, you'd find out the customer didn't even receive the invoice occasionally. So you'd have to resend an invoice out. So it was a high touch manual process. Now it's an automated process. So some big productivity savings for us.
And Arly, by expanding this across more of your accounts, do you see any ancillary benefits in terms of maybe process refinement, analysis, or insights? Is there going to be perhaps an additional payback when you scale this up?
Absolutely. I mean, we were in the pilot. As I mentioned, we've done business with Discover for over a decade. They're a fabulous customer of ours. We've used Ariba with Discover for a number of years, just not AribaPay. So now we really want to take this, and going forward, we want to take it and use it across the board within our accounting system for our customer base.
Great. Drew, tell us a bit more about AribaPay. For those who are perhaps intrigued and want to learn more, what does it actually do? What are some of the details, and how would you go about perhaps bringing this into your organization?
Sure. Like I said, the fundamental problem with B2B payment is that disconnect between the information and the settlement of funds. That is what AribaPay corrects and bridges that gap. So if you look at AribaPay on the Ariba network, our core strength, right, is everything from sourcing all the way through to the invoice being approved and ready to pay. And so all of the information that goes along with a payment, the invoice, the line items, the PO behind it, even the contract behind it, is all there and backing up that payment. What AribaPay does then is it takes it the final step and in that settlement process and connects a payment ID, a unique payment identifier with that, and connects with the Discover network to leverage their core strength, which is secure, trusted settlement of funds and the infrastructure to do that. And then Discover settles the funds in an electronic manner. But fundamentally, what happens is that settlement of funds is now tied together with the information that came behind that payment. So a supplier receiving a payment through AribaPay can get an automatic feed into their backend system, or they can come onto the Ariba network and they can see every line item that in the invoice that came behind that payment. More importantly, if there's a discrepancy between what they invoiced, say they invoiced $100 and they were paid $90 because there was the buyer disputed an item, or they thought the price should have been lower, so they paid less. What AribaPay will do is it will highlight that with an icon and tell you exactly where that discrepancy is, so that suppliers no longer have to search through and find where the issue is, but they can see it. And then finally, what AribaPay does is it gives a very cool feature we call track and trace for payment. So very much like when you order something online and you get a package shipped to you, you get a a tracking number, and you can see where that package is geographically as it comes to your house. Well, with AribaPay, a supplier can see where the actual payment is every step along the process, from the time the payment is approved to the time that it begins its execution and the file is sent, to when Discover debits the buyer's bank account, to when they credit the supplier's bank account, and all the way along the line. They can see every step. So that's fundamentally what it does. And so it bridges that gap of information, which gives suppliers the ability now to embrace electronic payment, get paid faster, have visibility into it, and because they now have all that information that they need.
So we're really creating these data-rich transactions where the data follows a transaction and it allows for a much greater transparency. How does that translate into lining up with other services? I'm thinking perhaps the Discover, or rather the dynamic discounting at Ariba. Is there a synergy of any sort between some of these other services that Ariba is providing now that you can accomplish so much with AribaPay?
Well, I think that there is a synergy. I mean, AribaPay is really that last step in the true P2P process. It is the second P in P2P, and it closes that loop, and it does so in a way that gives the supplier certainty of payment, right? So with dynamic discounting, it's a great next step. Dynamic discounting simply gives the supplier the ability to choose a different date for payment and offer a discount in order to accelerate that payment. But what will happen in normal dynamic discounting platforms is then that choice of the supplier will be sent to the buyer's back-end payment system, which will tell them, hey, the supplier wants to be paid early, and then that's the last visibility that the supplier sees, and they just trust that the process will work, and the buyer will then actually pay them at that time and for the amount that they're expecting. With AribaPay, the discount choice can be tied directly to the execution of the payment. And so they can see with certainty that, yes, the buyer has accepted that. Yes, the buyer has now executed on that. And so they can see when it's coming. So it adds that extra layer of visibility and certainty to the choice that they have to get paid early. So I see it as a very, very synergistic with dynamic discounting for sure.
Right. And so, Arly, as you're hearing Drew describe these the services and capabilities, do you think it might alter the way that you relate to your accounts, to your customers? Is there a value add with having this visibility and tracking and data with the transactions that might allow you to increase your services? Is this something you can extend back into your market?
Yeah, absolutely. From a process standpoint, it's a game changer for us in terms of driving productivity, improving cash flow. It's just like anything else. As you drive down your SG&A and your own expenses, you get more efficient. You pass those savings on to the customer. But I mean, we're really a technology company, and so when you get a best-in-class solution like this, you really want to take it and you want to maximize the benefits.
All right. Do you have? I know it's quite early in the game. We've just begun doing transactions, but can you see any metrics of success, any measurement of how this would work? We are anticipating, as you mentioned, cost savings, but can we put any numbers to that yet, Arly? Is it too soon?
We're internally looking at six-figure savings, just between actual handling expenses, postage expense, supply expense. But the real wild card is cash flow. When you improve your cash flow, the opportunity cost on that cash can be pretty high. And so from that standpoint, we know it's going to be in the six figures, but as we free up cash to do other things, that's going to make a big difference for us.
Great. So, Drew, for those interested in learning more, how would you begin? What's a good way of starting a process where you could begin to understand and even execute on something like AribaPay?
Certainly. A great place to go to learn more about AribaPay is simply AribaPay.com. There's a lot of information out there, some data sheets, and a form that they can fill out to learn more information and hear from us. And we have some value engineering models that can help customers, both buyers and suppliers, understand how AribaPay can help their business. And so that'd be a great first start. One other point I'd like to make about that I neglected to make about AribaPay, because we've talked a lot about the benefit to suppliers, which is great. It's a wonderful benefit to suppliers, but it shouldn't be understated the benefit there is to buyers of not having to manage bank account information anymore. One of the benefits of AribaPay and leveraging Discover is Discover's infrastructure and network of merchant acquirers and the process of bringing suppliers on, capturing their bank information, managing it, bumping it up against all the Office of Foreign Asset Control checks and all of the KYC and things that have to happen to verify that bank information, and then managing the keeping of that bank information up to date. So no longer do buying organizations, as they do today, have to hold on to supplier bank account information if they're going to pay electronically. And that is actually a very, very big benefit, particularly in light of what we've seen in the news lately about certain companies having had their data breached and payment information, bank information having been stolen. So this eliminates that risk by offloading the management of that bank information into a company, a trusted third party like Discover, whose business is very much managing that information. So,
yeah, thank you. And Drew, looking to the future, maybe 12 months from now at the next Ariba Live or conference of note, what can we expect? Are there some added services, more analysis and analytical benefits that you can draw? Where do you expect this to go next?
Certainly. Yeah, I think AribaPay right now, where it's going to be launched in the second quarter of this year to general availability, is really just the beginning. It's being launched to the U.S. alone first, and so the very next thing for us is expanding that into other jurisdictions. So I would look for that first and foremost in the next year.
Well, great. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been talking about how Arlington Computer Products has improved their financial processes and operations using the new AribaPay cloud service. And by examining an early user's experience, like at ACP, we've seen how an integrated and on-demand approach to ordering, billing, and settlement processes benefits both the buyers and the sellers. So a big thank you to our guest, Arly Guenther, Chief Executive Officer at Arlington Computer Products. Thank you so much, Arly.
Thanks, Dana. Thanks, Drew.
And we've also been joined by Drew Hofler, Managed Cash Solution Marketing Director at Ariba, an SAP company. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Dana. It's my pleasure.
And also a thanks to our audience for joining this special podcast coming to you from the 2014 Ariba Live Conference in Las Vegas. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host throughout this series of Ariba-sponsored BriefingsDirect discussions. Thanks again for listening, and come back next time.